Holy hell. Whew. Yeah. I feel super pregnant after eating all that food. But now, it's about time to start working on that video. Whew. Oh man. I don't know what's gotten into me ever since I ate that food, but regardless, I'm still gonna make this video. Oh man. When in the hell did we get a grandfather clock? Whatever. Okay. Clearly I needed that nap, but I guess since I'm awake now, I might as well get started on the video. For real this time. Alright, where's the light switch? Oh, there we go. Alright. Looks like that did the job. So, oh no. Oh hell no. Is this really happening to me, dog? Alright, alright guys, I didn't think I'd ever be starting off a video like this, but it appears I woke up in hell. It appears I woke up in hell. I'm clearly being actively punished for all the crimes I've done in my life, and I guess since I already started recording, I might as well just finish the video. So we're just gonna forget any of this happened, and I'm just going with the intro, okay? Okay. Hey guys, it's the dude Starite, and it's wonderful to see you guys again. It's wonderful to see you guys again. And as you guys saw in the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to be talking about a specific character that has been making his rounds across the internet as of late. You all saw the thumbnail. I'm talking about none other than the secret boss from FiveNightsatFreddys 4, Nightmare. And some of you guys are probably asking, Tay, out of all the FiveNightsatFreddys characters you could go over, why are you choosing Nightmare? And why are you suddenly speaking about him out of nowhere? Well, here's the thing. Nightmare, as of late, has been showing up in a lot of memes, and as much as I want to explain, you know jokes aren't funny when you just explain them, so I'm going to show you why Nightmare has been becoming so huge on TikTok and Instagram Reels as of late. Roll the clip.
Peter, would you give this to the nurse?
Uh-huh. Robots in disguise.
Direct your attention to me, Peter Josephine Griffin. I am the ink-black manifestation of every terrified heartbeat echoing in the dark. I've seen horrors, yet none match the idiocy of you intercepting that birth certificate. You ignored a mother's wish.
You know what? Why not hit you with another one? Go ahead and look at this one as well.
3, 2, 1. Some animals give me boners.
Christopher Cross Griffin. If there is any level of sanity or integrity remaining in that hollow shell which you call your mind, then you shall direct your utmost attention to my words. Have you the slightest inkling of what you have just done?
So these are the memes that have been blowing up all over the place. And literally, like, Nightmare is basically showing up in these Family Guy clips. Like, he's been showing up in these Family Guy clips, or just pretty much any other kind of media, and just just judging people, just like not judging, but he's just giving people the biggest reality checks of their lives. Like, it is funny as hell. I love these memes so freaking much, dude. Like, and it's great. All right. Anyway, his recent, like, a lot of people are probably wondering, like, okay, you see, I'm pretty sure there are tons of people who aren't familiar with the franchise who are seeing this guy and it's like, okay, it's one of those Freddy guys, and it's like, so, you know, I figured since Nightmare is getting a lot of attention as of late, I figured why not go ahead and attempt to explain his place in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Because even though we are all enjoying the memes, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people that are like, who is this? Who is that? Who is this guy? What is Five Nights at Freddy's even about? What is Nightmare talking about? Nightmare, chill. Like, that is funny as hell. But don't worry, guys. This video is gonna be very informative, but it's also gonna be very entertaining because, man, like, Nightmare has been all over the freaking place. But in case some of you want to know where this dude comes from and what he does and what his purpose is, I got you. To start things off simple, Nightmare is actually the final boss of Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So through nights 1 to 6, you basically deal with Fredbear at the very near end, where I believe Fredbear moves all the other animatronics out of the way and just goes after you by himself after 4 a.m. Now, in Nightmare's case, he basically does the exact same thing as Fredbear on night 7. After 4 a.m., Nightmare will come after you, and he is slightly more aggressive than Fredbear. Also does this on 2020 mode, but I believe there is also a mode where you can just activate Nightmare completely, where he just goes after you the whole night. Like, I'm talking about like from 12 all the way to 6 a.m. So yeah, Nightmare is pretty much that bonus boss fight. Like, that, if you're good at the game, if you're goated at FNAF 4, you gotta go against Nightmare. Like, he's literally the golden Freddy of Five Nights at Freddy's 4. And like, I could tell, like, dude, imagine at the time when people first found out about this character, like, they thought Nightmare Fredbear was the big bad, and then this guy comes along. Like, goodness, like, he looks identical to Nightmare Fredbear as well, which is definitely something we'll discuss later in this video. But yeah, that's literally Nightmare and his role in the game itself. However, if you ever want to try to understand his significance to the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, we're gonna have to dig in a little deep. Now, just a small disclaimer. For those of you that are new to my channel, I have explained Five Nights at Freddy's lore. I have explained all of the lore leading up to Five Nights at Freddy's 6, and I just want to say that when I explain my lore on this channel, I like to remain completely unbiased, and I like to give an entire canonical explanation of the things that take place in Five Nights at Freddy's itself. Now, if there are parts of the story that are very unclear and are completely speculative, I will leave a disclaimer to let you know that I am just telling you what I think might be going on at that part of the story. I have talked about Five Nights at Freddy's 4 in my Michael Afton video and in my William Afton video, but I made the fatal mistake of not putting it in the speculative section, where because the story of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is technically still a mystery. Now, there are things that have been confirmed in relation to that game, but the whole story hasn't been laid out, nor has it been spelled out for literally anyone in any sort of media whatsoever. As most of you know, the main gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 revolves around a defenseless child checking the hallways, checking on his bed, and checking inside his closet for monsters that are hunting him throughout the entire night. And these monsters have taken the form of the beloved characters created by Phasma Entertainment: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and even Fredbear, the lead singer of Fredbear's Family Diner. After completing each night in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, you are basically thrown in, well, this also happens before the first night too, you are basically thrown into a set of mini-games that tell a very tragic story. You play as a small child who is constantly getting bullied by his older brother wearing a Foxy mask. The abuse went on for so long that, well, okay, firstly, let me point this out for a moment, because the crying child does have a small collection of plushies in his room. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, the normal four, right? And basically, with the Foxy plush, he ripped its head off because he hates Foxy. He doesn't like Foxy. He's the polar opposite of Phone Guy. He hates Foxy. And due to his brother scaring him with the Foxy mask, he doesn't even want to be reminded of the character. So at least he liked Foxy enough to keep the rest of his body. speaking of the Crying Child's plushes, one of those plushes actually constantly talks to the Crying Child whenever he's getting bullied or whenever he's feeling down, and that is the Fredbear plush. Whenever the Crying Child was getting bullied, the Fredbear plush will chime in and give him a few words of comfort, like tomorrow's another day, don't you remember what you saw, you know, get to safety, stuff like that. That was basically his best friend. A lot of mystery surrounded him, and a lot of people were either debating that he was possessed or someone was talking through him. And our question was semi-answered in FiveNightsatFreddys' sister location. If you go inside the private room, which is literally William Afton's office, you get to see on William's desk that there is a Fredbear plush that looks identical to the one from the minigames, with a microphone and a speaker next to it. So I'm not gonna say that's what's happening, but they're somewhat implying that William was the one talking through the Fredbear plush comforting his son. I'm not going to say this is 100% true, but what I am going to say is that this is what is implied. But getting back on topic here, the abuse and bullying that the Crying Child was going through went all the way up until his birthday. And his birthday was going to be held at Fredbear's Family Diner, the predecessor and precursor of the later Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now, we all know how this story went. On the Crying Child's birthday, his older brother and his group of friends decided to lift up the Crying Child into Fredbear's mouth to give him a big kiss. And they held the Crying Child's head inside of Fredbear's mouth long enough for Fredbear to clamp onto the poor child's skull. As shown in the final minigame cutscene after you beat Night 5, we are shown the Crying Child in a small dark abyss surrounded by his little plushy friends, with Fredbear comforting him, telling him that he will always be by his side. After Fredbear gives his words of comfort, you are then shown a small gray text where a specific character is very regretful about what he did. The gray text is obviously the older brother who was fully responsible for the Crying Child being put in the hospital to begin with. And after the older brother was able to apologize, the Crying Child then passes away. We can even hear a flat line in the background to fully confirm that. Now there we have it. That's the story of the mini games we play after every night, but why are we going through the main gameplay? What story relevance does that have? Better question, what story relevance does the other small ending have? You know, the ending you get after you beat Night 7. After beating Night 7 in FNAF 4, you will be shown a small box in a dark abyss. Now the box will shake a little bit as if someone's trying to open it, but a little bit after that, you will see a small text up the front saying, perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. Now, this box has sparked so much controversy in the franchise from the moment the game came out. And I'm gonna say this. Say goodbye to any chance of solving whatever was in that box, because in a later interview, Scott confirmed that not even he knows what he originally wanted to be in the box. So that adds more on to my, guys, when I'm explaining the story of FNAF 4, do not take it to heart because this is all speculative. Even though that's what Scott says about the box now, take a look at what Scott said about the box around the time the game was getting a lot of hype. Take a look at this. This is a Halloween content update Steam post Scott made, where he basically comments on how people were solving the mysteries of all the other games, but somehow we're not able to do the same with FiveNightsatFreddys 4. I'll read it out to you. You know, when I released the first game over a year ago, I was amazed at how quickly everyone found out every bit of lore and story. Then the same happened with Part 2. Fans and YouTubers dug in and found everything. Game Theory did an incredible video on Part 2, getting almost everything right. Then Part 3 came out, and once again the story was uncovered by the community. It seemed that there was nothing I could hide. But then released Part 4, and somehow no one, not a single person, found the pieces. The story remains completely hidden. I guess most people assumed that I filled the game with random Easter eggs this time. I didn't. What's in the box? It's the pieces put together. But the bigger question is, what would the community accept it that way? The fact that the pieces have remained elusive this time strikes me incredible and special, a fitting conclusion in some ways, and because of that, I decide that maybe some things are best left forgotten forever. The theory I have for FiveNightsatFreddys 4's story potentially lines up with whatever could have been in the box at the time Scott was, you know, teasing us about it. So now that I've laid out all the story elements and all the clues we have set before us, let's try to piece the story of FiveNightsatFreddys 4 together so then we could potentially find out what the hell is Nightmare even about? And why is the main protagonist of FiveNightsatFreddys 4 having these nightmares to begin with? Well, Scott did say that he didn't put random Easter eggs in this game, so let's try to look for the Easter eggs and hopefully we can be able to come up with a proper conclusion for this mysterious story. The first Easter egg I'm going to tackle is the Night 1 phone call from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. You're probably wondering, Tate, what the hell do you mean the Night 1 phone call from Five Nights at Freddy's 1? This is FNAF 4, you know that, right? Well, you see, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 has a very distorted background ambient, and if you take the sound of that background ambient, reverse it, and raise the pitch, you get the Night 1 phone call from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Here's a small demonstration. Oh, okay. Why are we hearing the Night 1 phone call in a nightmare? Mike Schmidt is the only person who would have been able to hear this phone call. So I guess that kind of confirms that Mike is the one who's having this nightmare. At first, I was very skeptical about this because for a long time, I believed that the crying child was the one having these nightmares. It all made sense. After every night, we get to see a small bit of the crying child's story all the way up until he dies. And it made sense. The crying child, I mean, if you look behind yourself on the bed, you can see some hospital equipment right next to the bed. Okay, the crying child died in the hospital bed. That makes perfect sense, right? Well, I was fully on the crying child ship until I read the security logbook. Those of you that don't know, the security logbook is an activity book that was published by Scott Cawthon. And this is no ordinary activity book. That's an activity book to us. This book actually exists in the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's. It is an activity book that is given to Fazbear Entertainment employees, even the security guards, including Mike, who is literally on the first page of this entire book. As you turn each page, you'll begin to notice more and more Easter eggs and doodles that Mike left behind. Let's take a look at them so we can figure out Mike's identity and how this even relates to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I'm gonna give you a little disclaimer. Apparently, spirits have gained the ability to write things in this book, and you'll see very faded out text where they will sometimes try to talk to Mike or they're talking to some unknown person. On this very page, you can see that a spirit is asking, do you remember your name? Oh, would you look at that? Take a look at this. So on this specific page with Circus Baby, it says to help reach a more stable and relaxing frame of mind, write down your favorite therapeutical musical sessions. And right here, you see that Mike drew casual bongos. Now guys, this is a reference to Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. Now in this game, you also play as a guy named Mike. Now when you're about to type on the little, on the little digital pad, hand unit, you can see that there's a little bit of tape on the very edge, the right cornered edge of hand unit, spelled out Mike. So yes, that's Mike, but is it the same Mike? I mean, this book is pretty much confirming that. But here's the thing though. In Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, once you make it to the very end of the game, there's a cutscene where Mike name drops himself and says, Father, it's me, Michael.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be.
So basically, this game is the first formal introduction of Michael Afton, and confirm that Michael Afton is the one that we play as throughout the entirety of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. And there is one specific part of the game where hand unit will try to put on some music for Michael while he's going down the elevator. That music being casual bongos.
Keypad. I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. Thank you for selecting Casual Bongos.
Casual bongos is only something Michael Afton should know about. So if Mike, this Mike, that is implied to be the Mike from Five Nights at Freddy's 1, drawing casual bongos, this book is straight up telling us that Mike Schmidt is Michael Afton. We're getting hit with mind-blowing Easter eggs already, but let's keep going in the book because there's a page that you guys are going to want to see. So let's take a look here. There's a page asking the reader if they could use this page and the next page to sketch and write notes about their recent dreams. Now remember about the spirits that would write text in this book and talk to the reader, that being Mike? There is one specific writing on this page where the spirit asks, do you have dreams? And Mike, in his iconic red pen, draws Nightmare Fredbear. There it is right there. This book single-handedly confirmed that Mike Schmidt / Michael Afton is the one having the nightmares in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Casual Bongos is something only Michael Afton would know about. Exotic Butters, which is literally on a few pages ahead, also shows something that Michael Afton would know about. But then, Michael Afton draws Nightmare Fredbear, something that only the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 main protagonist would know about. So basically, this book not only confirmed that Mike is the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 protagonist, but it also confirmed that he is the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 main protagonist, and not the Crying Child. Unless the Crying Child came back from the dead and decided to take a job at Freddy's, I don't think that he's the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 main protagonist. There's no possible way he could have known about that phone call. So the main question is, why is Michael Afton having these nightmares? This is where the main part of my theory comes into play. Guys, I think that Michael Afton is the older brother from the minigames. A lot of people have widely accepted this too, but here's my reason. Firstly, it's the Afton household. The Afton household has been a huge mystery in the franchise, and actually, due to all the Easter eggs we've gotten throughout some of the games, we now know that the Afton household has been right in our faces the whole time. Hey, why are you calling the FNAF 4 house the Afton household all of a sudden? Well, it's pretty obvious. Michael Afton is the FNAF 4's main protagonist, so it makes sense that he's having this nightmare based inside of his own house. On top of that, I want you guys to take a look at this Easter egg here. If you look in the hallways, you'll notice that there is a specific lamp. Now, take a look at that lamp and literally the walls and how they're designed. Just literally take a good look at this entire hallway. Now, let's move forward a bit. In Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, after every shift, Michael goes home to watch a TV show known as Immortal and the Restless. And if you look on the side of the TV, you will see that exact same lamp sitting right next to the darn TV. This right here is confirmation that the FNAF 4 house is that exact same house we saw in sister location that Michael comes back home to. You see, everything's connecting back to Michael Afton. Now, how does this relate to the whole older brother theory thing? Well, here's the thing. In Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, I know I mentioned this game a lot, in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, when you go in the breaker room, you can see that there are very concealed maps all around the breaker room, you know, so there's the entire underground facility where all the Funtime animatronics are, but then you can see that there are locations that are exact map layouts of the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 house, which means that those locations are either somewhere near or above that entire underground facility. But considering that Michael Afton is literally underground throughout the entirety of sister location, those map layouts are more than likely above that entire facility, including Michael's own house. You can see the Fun with Plush Trap area, you can see the main FNAF 4 bedroom, and you can even see the layout of the house that the Crying Child walks out of in order to walk to Fredbear's Family Diner. It is literally identical. So with the breaker room map slightly implying that the FNAF 4 house is literally the same place as that neighboring house next to Fredbear's Family Diner, it's safe to assume that whatever house that Crying Child came out of, Michael lives in that exact same house. Now, let me hit you with this last bit of evidence that I have. In the non-canon ending to Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, Ennard tracks Michael home after he escapes the underground facility. Now, I'm thinking, how could Ennard have possibly known where Michael lives? Does he have a tracker on him? Did he get him by scent? Like, how did he do this? But then I remembered the breaker room map and how literally the Afton household is literally right over the entire facility. So Ennard more than likely reached Michael because that entire facility was right under the house that Michael lives in. So after Michael escaped, Ennard was able to track Michael down and, you know, find his way into his house, slowly, you know, dragging himself across in front of the TV, you know, to end Mike's life in that non-canon ending. So I'm thinking, okay, literally everything about sister location here is linking back to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. All the way down to the private room having the, you know, the little talking Fredbear plush. Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of the private room, did you guys know that if you type in 1983 on the keypad, you are shown the FNAF 4 bedroom. There you go, guys. I'm sorry. It's the Afton household. There you go. It's the Afton household, 100%. Now, you see, now you know where the whole Michael Afton is the older brother theory kind of comes from. Why does William Afton have security footage in his own house? I do not know, but that's a whole mystery by itself. That can make its own video. But anyway, guys, the point I'm trying to make is the FNAF 4 house is 100% the Afton household, and Michael having a nightmare inside of this house is now that we have all the Easter eggs lined up, pretty unsurprising. So yeah, guys, that is why I believe that, personally, Michael Afton is the older brother. Now let's get back on track here now that I've given you guys all the evidence. Michael Afton, the reason why Michael Afton is having these nightmares inside of his own house, he is now a small defenseless child, being scared of the animatronics, being tortured by these monsters, taking forms of beloved characters, is because he is suffering from traumatic guilt relating to the incident that killed his brother, the bite of 83. At the end of FNAF 4, we can see that the older brother literally apologized to the crying child right before he passed away, and that really shows that he's truly remorseful for what he did to his younger brother. Now, if Michael Afton is the older brother, this would mean that Michael is having traumatic nightmares about what he did to his younger brother. This is why, despite all of the nightmare animatronics being present, Nightmare Fredbear is the big bad, because Fredbear is the very thing that Mike used to end his brother's life. Fredbear is the final step Michael needs to overcome in order to accept what he did and take full accountability of him killing his own brother. It could explain why on night 5, that after 4 a.m., Fredbear just takes full control and just takes you on one-on-one. It's just me and you, Mike. It's just me and you. I'm the very thing that killed your brother. You used me to end your brother's life. It is your fault. That is what I feel that Nightmare Fredbear represents. But since that's what Nightmare Fredbear possibly represents, what about the main subject of this video, Nightmare himself? See, this is where everything comes together. This is why I literally had to explain the entire story of FiveNightsatFreddys 4 in order to come to this conclusion. Guys, I feel like Nightmare is the embodiment of what Michael's trauma is. Fredbear. While Nightmare Fredbear is a twisted reflection of the very thing that Michael used to kill his brother, Nightmare is a more twisted version of what Nightmare Fredbear represents. If you want me to put it more simply, Nightmare is basically, in my opinion, what keeps Michael up at night, the very reminder of Michael's misdeeds. It's the reason why he's literally the final boss in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. And you want to know what seals it for me? The cutscene that plays after you beat Night 7, where Nightmare first appears. That stupid box, where the text appears over the box saying, perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. Because in Mike's case, forgetting about what he did to his brother, moving on from it, putting it behind him, that's what he needs to do in order to move forward in life. Perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. Michael sealed all of his trauma, all of his guilt, all of his self-loathing into this box. That's why he can't open it. He refuses to open it. That box represents so much, and that's why you are given this box after you beat Nightmare. Beating Nightmare, the twisted form of Fredbear himself, after overcoming him, Michael was able to fully move past the very thing that kept him up at night, the very thing haunting him every single day that he lives, that he breathes. Guys, in my opinion, that's what I think is in the box. I think it's just trauma, Mike's trauma. There isn't a body, there isn't anything in the box. I feel like it's a metaphor, it's a metaphorical kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, Nightmare is not a real entity in any way, shape, or form, but I do think that he represents something. And matter of fact, none of the Nightmare animatronics are real, in my opinion. There is a weird book called Didophobia where it basically have the nightmares be actual, real things, illusions, but Secret of the Mimic kind of like made it very clear that the books aren't canon in any way, shape, or form. So don't worry, guys. FNAF 4 is pretty much not real. But in the books universe, that is an experiment, very much so. So yeah, yeah, guys, that is my possible explanation on Nightmare. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't get too off topic because I know I had to explain so much in order to get to Nightmare, but I literally had to come up with a base because listen, if I were to just go like, hey guys, I think Nightmare is like, you know, trauma and stuff like that, if I just started off with that and then just like not explained anything else, this video would have been 2 minutes. This video would have been 2 minutes. And you know, I'm not doing it for the money neither. I'm not getting monetized, so you know, what the hell. No, I'm not doing it for the money. This video has been extended for the sake of me explaining a very mysterious character. And it's like, Nightmare, no one talks about him. These memes that have been showing up lately, literally, these memes that have been showing up lately have been freaking funny as hell. And, you know, given that Nightmare has no backstory, you know, it only makes sense that in order to even to begin explaining who he is, you would need to explain the story of the game he comes from, because even the story of the game is freaking a mystery. You know what I mean? Everything about FNAF 4 is a darn mystery, you know? So I just wanted to explain why FNAF 4 itself, the story of FNAF 4, and Michael Apton bit out a huge chunk of this video, like how Fredbear bit out a huge chunk of that kid's head.
Tavion Marshall Idris Ricks III. Don't breathe. Don't move. Don't speak. It is no coincidence that you found yourself here. If you believed for even a second that you will eventually find peace in this void of what once was, lose all hope. At first, I had hoped you would learn something after enduring treacherous nightmares night after night. But you have shown today that you have learned nothing. Do you find joy in the suffering of children? This isn't funny. This isn't a joke. And the only person that laughed was you. Make a mistake like this again, and you will share the same fate as that child. Do you understand?
Yeah. I understand. Whew. Okay, all right, guys, all right, I'm just gonna end the video there. I think I said everything I need to say. I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you very much. I love you guys very much, and please take care of yourselves, as always.